Okay, but to start off, I want to go on where my partner was ending off, where our plan of action was. I think our plan of action is to ban all animal testing, and we have already seen this, well, the beginning of this in Europe, where they banned animal testing on cosmetics, and L'Oreal is one of the biggest cosmetic brands out there, and it comes from France, and has done very well for not being able to do animal testing. So that goes to show that other cosmetic companies can do the same as well. And then also, we in the United States we do have regulations on cosmetic testings, but it's not very effective. Like my partner said, there's only 120 inspectors that are going around with the amount of laboratories that there are. So that is not very productive for the regulations. And so that's why we should completely ban everything. And also, there was if the fines go for about $2,000 for a fine where if they find you testing on something that you're not allowed to. But that is just a fine that any business is willing to go through. The fine should be extremely high so that when they completely ban it, companies aren't willing to go waste the money are willing to take the fine to go through the experiments. Oh yeah, and this goes on to say what my opponent said about receiving funding, and he's saying that if you receive funding, you must comply to the rules. But we're human beings, and human beings don't really follow rules. And so yeah. Oh yeah, he also said that animal research on mice led to some good research about breast cancer. That may be true, but Dr. Richard Klausner, a former director of the National Cancer Institute, said that they have cured mice for decades and it simply didn't work on humans. This is because mice are not really related to humans, so you can't really take the results that you test on mice and relate it to human beings, because the anatomy is not really related. And then I want to go on to saying that animal testing takes a lot of money and time. For example, the cost of animal testing takes about 16 billion tax dollars. And it's mostly expensive because of the regulations. And going back to this, if we ban it completely, we won't really need as much regulations, any inspectors as much, and so the cost would go down. But instead of using the $16 billion on animal research, we could use it on research for stem cells and actually advance what we have now. Because my opponent was saying that the research that we have now on stem cells is not very productive because it does not really represent a full body organism. But with more research, if we put that $16 billion into research, we could possibly come up with something that would actually represent the human body. Oh yeah. There was also an example in the 1950s. I know it's old, but it's still an example. It's a sleeping pill called thalidomide, which caused 10,000 babies to be born with severe deformities. It was tested on animals prior to commercial release, and later the test. The tests on pregnant mice, rats, and guinea pigs did not result in birth defects on them, but it did result in birth defects on animals. On humans. Sorry. So now, for the new technology, there's organs on chips that contain human cells grown in a state-of-the-art system to mimic the structure and function of human organs and organ systems. Like I was saying, this these kind of chips could be funded with all the money that's used to fund animal research and advance the research, so then we don't have to use animal research, animal testing to improve medical research. Okay. An example is in vitro testing. It can actually detect genotoxic and non-genotoxic carcinogens, which is very helpful. For example, that was used to test carbon fiberglass. It was not known to be a carcinogen when it was tested with animals, but when it was tested with the in vitro system, it was found to be a carcinogen. So that goes to show that we could actually improve the technology that we have now and stop animal testing. Thank you.